Extra time, as I'm sure you imagine, after the week we've just had, there are some weighty issues that people want to dive into.
What one you come out with on, for those that saw Best of the Week? For those that didn't, excuse me. No, not really. He says this is the last extra time
of the week.
Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow.
Which is the first.
And that'll be the first one of next week.
Well, technically accurate, but...
Well, I'm not sure. Nobody's figured that out yet.
Yeah, it's definitely confusing.
I talked about weighty matters. Joseph, getting straight to the heart of the matter. Why are the Rooney posters still up in the room where Shaka found his cake yesterday? If you weren't with us yesterday, Shaka
they've been up there
had a great encounter with a piece of lemon cake, which you didn't think was coming your way.
What happened, you know...
Hey, Pete, how many...
Yeah, it's me. Why are there Rooney posters up there?
So,
I'll tell you why those Rooney posters are up there. I'll tell you why the Rooney posters are up there, because Chris Wondolowski, who does some work, who does digital side
stuff,
on domestic.
Not the great San Jose striker.
No.
The other Chris Wondolowski.
Although it could be a second career for him, you know.
You never know.
No, I don't give it up. He wanted to do something on Wayne Rooney a while ago, and you know, such is the budget here at the worldwide leader in sports, we just stuck some Rooney pictures up behind the wall as a backdrop.
And they're still there.
And they've never came down.
No one's bothered.
Some pictures they just printed off the computer, by the way.
He didn't come up, he went, right. He said, he stuck them in the wall and he went, right, that'll do as the backdrop. Professionalism at its greatest.
And they're not even up to date, Wayne Rooney pictures.
No. Well, you can always tell by the hair.
From his Everton days. First time around, I think. Ian, if Manchester City don't win the league, it says our questioner, would they call this season a failure?
Oh, it's a pretty big if, isn't it, if they don't win the league. I guess in their terms, drenched in money as they are and expectation, yeah, they probably would. But how can it be a failure, really, with, what is it, 90-odd points? It isn't really, but I guess that's what they'll say.
A League Cup and an FA Cup,
Could be an FA Cup,
potentially.
Quarter-final of the Champions League. That's some failure, isn't it?
I have one of my mates is a Spurs fan, and after Spurs knocked them out of the Champions League, he called me to say that Man City are more Spursy than Spurs.
Right.
I'm not sure how he got there, but I'm just...
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a mate, actually, who's a Brighton fan who informs me that several of the Brighton players have been spotted out on the town for the last 3 nights in a row.
Well, I'd be disappointed if they were.
that would never happen in our day.
They were only drinking mineral water, though.
Right.
You know that.
Yes,
I'll tell you why, because in the days before we were going for the title at Celtic, we were out for 3 days. And we were going for the title. and won it, by the way. So I would wholly anticipate that if they've got nothing to play for on their behalf, they're having a few shandies.
Yeah, indeed.
Strawberry daiquiris. Well, they have got a duty to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
And to Liverpool.
Yeah.
I
I think less teams are on the beach than they used to be, aren't they, these days? I think that the league is played to a finish, I think, now.
Yeah, it's all very boring, isn't it?
On Sunday.
Boring.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not so sure I believe that.
Were your teams part of the old win or lose, we're on the booze?
Let me phrase this properly. Because at that time that was the sort of culture, and you socialised together, and he was as bad as teams, but you socialised together, Ian, as you know, and the Rangers were big into that for years and they had huge success, and then obviously we won that title, which was the first one for Celtic, and that was going to be Rangers' 10th in a row. But our thinking was, what we had done all year was we had gone out during the week. And why were we going to change that for the final game of the season?
Right.
So we just bashed on regardless.
Yeah.
And went out and socialised, and some people saw that as unprofessional, but we saw it as continuing what we'd done, the answer is yes.
Wasn't it Brian Clough who famously took his Forest side out the night before a European Cup final? I mean, we're going even back further.
Listen. This was before.
Yes, he did.
This was before all the social media, and we had, we weren't like living in the dark ages. We had mobile phones, but they weren't readily available to take as many photos as they are now.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be smart to do it now. But then again, we're not smart.
No.
So we probably would.
Julien, let's bring you in on the next one. Transfer costs aside, starts our questioner, whose name is Risk, apparently. I always love it when a question starts. Ignore money. So transfer costs aside, would Kylian Mbappe be the best player for any team to sign right now?
Wow. Yeah, I think so. I mean, apart from Messi, yeah, Messi would probably still be the best player to sign for anyone if there was no money involved. If you don't look about the money. If you want to talk about Mbappe, I think he would be pretty high on every big club's list if money was not a problem for anyone. At his age, and even if this season we've seen a few issues with his attitudes on and off the field, he's still an incredible talent, and the room for improvement is still so big that you just wonder what kind of player he's going to become.
Well, of course, Messi's no longer the talisman.
Greatest of all time.
Since his quiet night. Social media couldn't wait to make him out as the most average player that's ever walked the planet. It's unbelievable, isn't it? I get the Ronaldo Messi thing, and if you're on the Ronaldo side, fine. If you're on the Messi side, fine. But give it a bloody rest, will you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But if you're a director of football at any of the big clubs, who can sign pretty much any player, is Kylian Mbappe top of your list right now?
Yeah, I mean, you're freely assuming that Messi is going nowhere.
Yeah, assuming
just taking that for granted for quite some time. If I were to sign anybody else in world football now, I'd go for Kylian Mbappe. No question.
Julien, back to you. Hakil wants specifically from you what you think of Thomas Tuchel's press conference, where he basically said that one of the two PSG goalkeepers, Areola or Buffon, will have to go this summer.
Well, I wish he had said that 10 months ago. I think from the beginning of this season, when he decided to rotate them both, and one play 2 games and one play 3 games, and then the other one comes back for 2 games, and then let me think who's going to play the next game. I'm not so sure, so I'm not going to tell them until 2 hours before kickoff. I mean, I never got it. I think it was a big mistake from the beginning. I think there should be a number 1 and a number 2, and it's clear, and there's no... or maybe not, maybe him, but he's older, but this one is younger, and this one is better looking, but this one can... I never got it, and I think it was a big mistake from him from the beginning, and I just wish he'd made that call back in August instead of making it now for next season.
And it's goalkeepers you want.
Did he just say one is better looking? Was that part of Tuchel's reasoning? Yeah, he's better on a night out.
In Paris, it always counts, doesn't it?
He's good to have a night out. Listen,
it matters a lot.
Having 2 goalkeepers interchange like that, I don't think ever works. I was part of that with Pavlicic and Shaka at Newcastle. I thought it did both of us a huge disservice. The only time I can ever think of it working is when they had Claudio Bravo and Ter Stegen at Barcelona. Bravo played in the League, Ter Stegen in the Champions League, and that was just for a season. Outside of that, inevitably, I think it affects both goalkeepers negatively.
Yeah.
And it affects the back 4.
Yeah.
Because you're working as you're not working, although it's a specialised position, you're working with usually a kind of, back 4 that's more often than not stays together.
Yeah.
So you form a relationship. Does this goalkeeper come for crosses? How high does he play up? Can we push up? Will he sweep up behind us? Is he a guy that stays on his line a lot? So you got to formulate a partnership, and to be changing all the time has worked, but sporadically.
And Julien, reading your story on it, Areola was supposed to play in that fateful game against Man United, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I mean, again, thank you for reminding me of one of the worst nights of my life. But
it's a pleasure, Jules.
Anytime.
Yeah, always. That's where you see where friends are. No. The thing is, it started by Thomas Tuchel, which again, for me, and I want to know what the boys think, was a huge mistake of telling the players to arrive at the stadium at 7 o'clock, so 2 hours before kickoff, so you don't go to the hotel the night before, or you don't even go to the hotel on the afternoon. Sometimes it's okay maybe not to go to the hotel the night before, although a lot of big teams still do now, and national teams and etc. But at least get together for lunchtime, you have lunch together, then you go to the hotel, you have a bit of a rest, and then you go all together to the stadium. Tuchel decided that for whatever reason, it was better to get to the Parc des Princes at 7 for kickoff at 9. And Alphonse Areola got there late, so because he was late, he got dropped to the bench. So Gigi Buffon, who didn't think he would start because Tuchel had given the team and he was on the bench, then finally ended up starting. And I don't know if that played on his mind, but obviously there's that big mistakes on the United second goal and quite a lot of fragility overall anyway in that game. So it was just not PSG's night, and a lot of mistakes were made from very early on in that day to late in the day during the game and after the game and all of that, and it was just a nightmare day.
Getting there 2 hours before a game for such a big game in such a big city gives players headaches, because both Shaka and I played in London, where Ian and Jules are, and we know what the traffic's like, and quite often we used to get to Chelsea at, say, 1:30 for a 3 o'clock kickoff back in the old days, and I remember getting pummeled in traffic quite a few times. You know, you just never know. So it starts to play in your mind about when do you need to leave. Then you start leaving too early. You get there way too early. Where if that decision making is taken out of your hands for a big game, then all you have to think about is the game itself. You don't have to think about the traffic.
I think we're creatures of routine. Whatever is working for you, stick with that. If it is, get there 2 hours before the game, but you do that from the start of the season and you're winning games, then keep doing that. Don't all of a sudden change it mid-season or right behind, just before your biggest test of the season, to stay in a hotel. Similarly, if you stay in a hotel before all your games, don't change it because you think you've got the game won.
Yeah.
Just stick with whatever works. We are creatures of routine. Don't upset that routine.
Just a quick one, Jules.
Having said that, guys, here's a story about Coventry City playing at Queen's Park Rangers one day. Mickey Adams was the manager. Their coach broke down. He bought 23 tickets for the whole squad for an underground metro train to Shepherd's Bush. They walked down the road, got there half an hour before the kickoff and won 3-0. And he was saying after the game, I'm checking the underground routes for all our other games in London this season.
Does it stretch to Coventry is the question. Just the Northern line.
Just a quick one, Jules. How actually late was Areola? How late was he?
10 minutes, I believe, because of traffic.
10 minutes. See, that's...
Yeah.
Oh,
see,
that in traffic.
No, see, that's petulant nonsense from Tuchel.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Absolutely. I mean, it's not like he was in a pub having a boo. Yeah, he's late in traffic in a big city by 10 minutes. Okay, he's timed it badly. He's caught for a bad one. But you're talking about a club going for the Champions League, a competition they've never won, and a huge night. One that he probably has underestimated now, thinking, well, I'll just show Areola that I'm the boss, and it's Man United, and we walloped them 2-0 at Old Trafford, and this is me teaching him my lessons. When it wasn't the only reason, but it just smacks of headmasters. You love Tuchel and his tennis ball training methods, don't you?
He loves going to the pub before games, apparently.
I don't dislike...
Timely leaving the pub.
I don't dislike Thomas Tuchel or any coach, but I hate petulance like that, because that's school stuff.
Yeah.
That's up before the headmaster, not professional footballers playing at an elite level.
You know what I really like?
10 minutes late.
Dissecting the worst night of Jules' life.
Well, Jules
in
wants
this
back
minute detail is great. Just seeing him writhing in pain is so. I'm loving every minute of this.
Yeah, go on, Jules. You get the last word.
The article where that story was that I did this week for ESPN was the hardest one I had to write because it's my team, and I had to write all the problems, all the issues, and all the dysfunctioning and all that. And I was like, why am I supporting this club in the first place anyway? I should get as far as possible from PSG.
You slammed him good though, Jules. You slammed him with a crusty baguette. Yeah. You slammed him.
Yeah, just think of the money.
It was
Jules.
my therapy.
Just think of the money. Just take the money.
Wish the VAR official had got caught in the traffic as well.
You want 5,000 words on PSG? I'll give you 5,000 words. Now, where's my money? That gets you through it.
All right, we've got to let Ian and Jules out into that London traffic. Thank you, fellas. Thank you two guys. We will see you tomorrow for the next edition of FC.